Good morning, friends. Well, actually, it's afternoon, even here in California. I've had some unexpected stuff come up this week, but I really want to be committed to doing these energetic updates every week. I feel like it's so helpful to understand a little bit more of the energy and maybe why we might be feeling things that we're feeling. So I might keep it a little shorter this time, but I definitely wanted to fill you guys in. And I don't know how you're feeling out there, but I have been feeling a lot, feeling very intense, feeling a lot of sadness about the direction things are going in, and allowing myself a little bit of extra time to process that sadness. And just being a little bit patient with. It's been a very strange. Last week, we came into the astrological new year. So the sun came into Aries. It was the spring equinox. And on that same day, Mercury came direct. So that was on the 20th last week. And it's been a little bit of an odd spring equinox, because usually we'll feel a little bit more of that fire energy as the sun passes into those 0 degrees of Aries. We'll feel a little bit more of a drive towards action. And with Mercury coming direct, we may even expect to be feeling like some new progress in certain directions of ideas and learning and growth that we processed during that Mercury retrograde. But in this case, the sun came across past the 0 degrees of Aries and joined up with Neptune right away. So came into conjunction with our watery ruler of Pisces. And while that can sometimes be a bit of a magical, dreamy vibe, in this case, it may feel more like foggy and confusing with where everything is in the world. We may just be getting a little more of a slow start to our Aries season and the beginning of the astrological new year this year. And so one of the things I've been working with personally is just allowing myself the space to feel that things don't feel the same. That things feel very different than they have in the past. That I don't necessarily know all the answers. I'm sure you don't either. And we're allowed to feel sad or frustrated or disappointed, whatever we're feeling, whatever's coming up for you. Definitely allow yourself the space to feel those feelings. Just be curious about them. Don't judge them. We're all going through something here. And it's been really intense this year, as I'm sure you are feeling too. And then Mercury, even though he did come direct, is still sitting there right at the North Node and hasn't started moving very far. In fact, today, Monday, March 23rd, he is starting to make a little bit of progress with picking up movement at all. So this phase is called post-shadow. It's basically like Mercury came out of retrograde, but now he has to re-travel back through those degrees that he went backwards when he was in retrograde to move back to where he'll start gaining more momentum. And so it just takes some time. We're in this post-shadow period all the way until April 9th. So in the ethereal water sign of Pisces, the learning or growth or lessons that we received during that retrograde cycle, which was really a doozy. I don't know about you, but it was a wild one for me. And those lessons may not be fully showing up for us yet. They may just still be percolating or steeping as we're still in these watery depths of Pisces. And it's okay if it takes some time before we know an actual clear message or an actual clear result of the lessons that we're learning. It's just all taking a little more time than I personally wish it was right now. But if we give ourselves that time, we give ourselves that space, and we don't force ourselves, or we don't question the validity or judge the validity of the feelings that we're feeling, these answers are going to come to us, and these realizations are going to come to us. So we just have to be a little bit patient here. And I would say if we think of this week a little bit like an exhale, we just went through a lot of intensity. Last week was super intense. And this week definitely is a little bit more mellow with the energy. We're moving kind of slowly through the waves and through the depths, and we just have to allow ourselves to move with the energy of the universe and not fight it too much. So another thing that's very alive this week is going to be kind of sensitive, tender vibes, because Venus has come into conjunction with Chiron, our asteroid symbolizing the wounded healer. And this is an asteroid that we're really going to feel strongly. And since Venus in Aries is here with Chiron, we talked a little bit about Venus in Aries. Venus in Aries is urging us towards our individual desires and needs. And Aries is opposite her natural home in Libra, the house of the sign of relationships and partnerships. So we may be feeling some painful lessons or experiences coming up around relationships this week. Venus is already coming into conjunction with Chiron, and the most exact days of that conjunction are going to be on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So that might be where we feel those the strongest. We may even, have thoughts or feelings around old wounds or old relationships or old traumas come up for us. However, if we remember that everything that's coming up for us is coming up for our own growth and for our own evolution, and we know that Venus is going to be very highlighted next week when she's the ruler of that full moon that we're going to see in Libra at the beginning of April, we can see that this Venus Chiron may be foreshadowing some of the relationship activations that we might feel rising under that full moon. So it could be calling us to honor more of our individual needs and boundaries, or set a clear boundary if there are places where we haven't been taking care of ourselves and we've been allowing relationships with others to distract us or pull us away from our own needs. And that may be slightly challenging in our relationships, but all of that is for our growth. So we need to trust the process and just give ourselves time to ride along with it as it unfolds. And as we'll jump ahead a little bit to next week, we're going to have a lot of Venus energy coming up next week as we have that full moon in Libra. That's going to be happening on April 1st. And as we start the next week, Venus is going to run right into a square with Pluto, which will happen along with that full moon. That full moon is going to be quite a challenging one. We are very likely going to be feeling all the feels, because that full moon is not only ruled by Venus, who's going to be in square to Pluto, our planet ruling transformation and power and control, secrets, mysteries, death and rebirth. But the full moon is also going to be square to Jupiter in Cancer, which is going to bring a huge expansiveness of feelings and maybe drama as well. So we're going to be looking for balance and harmony around that full moon, which Libra values. And it may be a little bit harder to find. There may be almost a little bit more of a scorpionic quality to it, since Venus will be opposite, which is a challenging aspect, with Pluto, the planet that rules Scorpio. So let's jump a little bit into the day-to-day so that we don't go too long this time. Today on Monday, we have the moon in Gemini, and that moon is making a square to Mercury, which may be challenging us or making us feel a little anxious or unstable about where we're going, what we want. We may just not know exactly what direction is unfolding for us yet. So we might have a little bit of that feeling today. And tomorrow, the moon is actually going to square Mars as well, which is our driving force, like our momentum, our motivation, our drive to do and accomplish things. So it might be a little bit of a challenging start of the week. There may still be some unknowns. Give yourself a little bit of space and time to get into it. And then we're also going to be seeing our sun conjunct Saturn tomorrow on Tuesday, March 24th, which can be a harsh and uncomfortable feeling because the sun is very light and bright and rules like our identity, our ego, the way that we want to move forward in the world, the way that we want to be seen in the world. And Saturn can be harsh and difficult and forces us to maybe need to be more responsible than we want to be. But again, that's for our growth. So if there's anything positive to say about that conjunction with Sun and Saturn tomorrow, it may be that if we listen intuitively, we may get some useful lessons about where we're going to be moving forward. It may still feel a little uncertain and unstable, but answers are starting to come. And then Wednesday, like we talked about, the Venus-Chiron conjunction will be direct. So we may feel tender or triggered, especially around relationship stuff. Just be a little gentle with yourself and others that day. Let's all remember to stay with curiosity and compassion wherever we can over judgment or harshness, because we're all going through something and we're all going to be feeling it on that day. Wednesday evening, though, the moon is starting a trine to Mercury in the North Node. And so we actually, towards the evening, might be getting some nice intuitive nudges of directions or changes that we need to make. And if you have a relationship talk that you've been thinking of needing to have, Wednesday evening might even be a great time to do that, because you'll have that trine energy kind of like easing and guiding more flow in the direction of relationships. Then on Thursday, the moon comes into Cancer, and that's going to be conjunct with Jupiter. And as we all know, Jupiter is our planet of expansion, just makes everything big, magnifies everything. And then the moon is our feelings. And Cancer has to do with family and home and possibly our mother relationships. So we are very much going to be feeling all the feels on Thursday. Venus is still with Chiron, and then our moon conjunct Cancer. Just give yourself a little space that day and patience. But that moon and Jupiter are trine the North Node and Mars. So again, that beautiful trine may help to give us some important truths about our direction and where we're heading right now. On Friday, the moon moves into Leo, which is our creative and fiery sign, but it is opposite to Pluto, sign of transformation. So I would say Friday could be a really great day to take some of that energy from our Sun conjunct Saturn on Tuesday, where we might have been asking questions about where we're needing to go and what we're needing to put our energy towards, and actually do a little bit of work, do a few action steps on Friday towards those goals that you were thinking about and considering throughout the week. And with that opposition to Pluto, transformation or control or power, any of those things could be highlighted and could come up. But I feel like Friday would be a good day to take some action, and it is the end of the week. So hopefully we'll all have made some progress, made some realizations, and we'll make some things happen on Friday. Saturday is a fairly peaceful day. Our moon is staying in Leo, and there are no wild aspects about it. And then Sunday, We're probably starting to feel some of those full moon vibes coming in, even though our moon is still moving towards Virgo. But on Sunday, our sun is going to square Jupiter, and then our moon is going to square Uranus. So again, Sunday, there may be a few unexpected challenges that pop up, or bumps in the road, or twists and turns along the path. Just give yourself a little bit of grace. Leave yourself extra time. Remember to come at everything this week with curiosity. I think that's one of the big words for us this week is curiosity. A little extra self-care is always good these weeks when Chiron is in the forefront, because we know we're going to be feeling a lot. And I know that for me, I've already been feeling a lot. So I am just remembering to take extra time to breathe, to ground, to find something positive or a sweet little treat that's going to help me get through my day. And if the progress that you're seeing in your life, if you're expecting it to be big, grandiose progress right now, it might not be that. But if you feel like you're taking some slow, steady steps and making a little bit of progress on something that you want to accomplish every single day, and being kind to yourself and kind to others in the process, then you're doing great with all the energy that we have flying around in the world. So thank you so much for joining me. Leave me a comment below. Let me know how this landed, how you're feeling, what's alive for you as we move into this new week. And oh my God, I can barely believe that we're coming towards the end of March. I feel like time has just flown lately. So much is going on. And for myself, like I mentioned before, I'm just trying to pick a few things that I prioritize putting my energy towards and be happy with those bits of progress where I can find them. And knowing that every step along this path, we're learning more, we're growing more, we're leaving ourselves room to evolve in our boundaries and our sense of self, and also in our relationships. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll talk to you next week.